All right, so my problem with this is that you know I've seen this type of narrative before in the past. So when I see somebody like Jason Black, when he jumps on something like this, it doesn't surprise me. Okay, because it's just the type of thing that will fuel his narrative. But when I watch Jason Black's like commentary on it, I didn't hear him say a lot. I didn't hear him delve into like the details of it. It's just that he put the story up there and he said, okay, there's this black family that owned land in Colorado, and they experienced some sort of harassment from their neighbors and some sort of harassment from law enforcement, you know. And everything was very vague though, so I went and did my own research into it. And from the evidence that I've gathered so far, because there's like sparse evidence here and there on the internet about this. From the evidence that I've gathered so far, I don't actually believe it's what Jason Black is saying that it is. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just read the article, and then I'm gonna read another article, and I'm gonna go ahead and give my commentary on it. But it says, okay, uh, what we know about the stalking case involving black ranchers in El Paso County. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that Jason Black was trying to portray it like these people are black farmers, but they're not. These people are ranchers. They're not farmers. Okay, and there's a big difference. Okay, ranchers mainly do like like livestock and stuff, and farmers mainly do like crops and stuff. Okay, there's a big difference, but they kept trying to portray that these people are black farmers, but they're not. They're ranchers. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, a 2-year-old dispute between black ranchers in rural El Paso County and their white neighbors has led to allegations of stalking and racism and very little clarity over the truth. Okay, what is clear is that court records show there have been nearly 2 dozen complaints filed by both parties within the last 2 years. Nicole and Courtney Mallory, the owners of Freedom Acres Ranch in El Paso County, were granted temporary protection orders on a couple of occasions against their neighbors over the last 2 years, but their cries for help have mostly been dismissed in the courts at this point. Their neighbors, Teresa and Bonnie Clark, okay, currently have restraining orders against them that are in effect. Okay, the Mallorys for 2 years have complained that neighbors and others trespassed on their property, pointed guns at them, called them racial slurs, released dogs on them, damaged their ranch gate and security cameras, harmed their animals, and would incite violence against them on social media. Okay, they were the first to file a complaint beginning in December 2021, where they highlighted some of the above. The Clarks first filed complaints against the Mallorys in January 2022, claiming the Mallorys would stalk them, cross their easement, and intimidate them by sitting at their fence and watching them until they went inside, and constantly called the police on them. Okay. Lack of clarity regarding where each family's property ends has been a major point of contention in the dispute between the Mallorys and the Clarks. Okay, but Courtney and Nicole Mallory were both arrested. Now, first off, any man that has the name, like the first name Courtney, okay, that's a red flag for me. Okay, that's a red flag for me. The fact that his first name is Courtney it's a certain type of person. It's a certain type of female that if they have a male child and they name the male like a girl name, like Courtney, that that lets me know a lot. Okay, I'm just saying, just based off that alone, that lets me know a lot about what's going on here. This dude got his first name is goddamn Courtney, not Chris. Okay, not Charles. Okay, but Courtney. All right, just keep that in mind. That should let you know a lot about what's going on right here. Okay, says, but Courtney and Nicole Mallory were both arrested Monday morning on warrants stemming from stalking charges filed against them by neighbors. Nicole Mallory was released Monday, and Courtney was released Tuesday night with help from the Rocky Mountain NAACP after El Paso County Judge Deborah Pearson bumped his bond up to $6,000 in court Tuesday afternoon. Okay. Here's what we learned from a criminal affidavit against the Mallorys. According to a criminal affidavit, Courtney Mallory, 41, was charged with felony stalking, misdemeanor tampering with a utility meter, and a petty charge of theft under $50 on December 9th. His wife, Nicole, had also been charged with felony stalking, okay, last year. So the wife had a charge against her for stalking the previous year. And I wonder why. What was she doing? What are they doing? It's interesting that they're getting these stalking charges. That's the first thing that came up to me. Why stalking? Why is that the charge? Because there's other charges, I mean, that they could have gotten, like harassment or stuff like that. Trespassing. Why stalking? Okay, why is stalking what they're being charged with? But let's continue. Okay. After consulting with the local district attorney's office, El Paso County Sheriff Sergeant Emery Ray Gerhardt filed a sworn affidavit charging Courtney Mallory. In it, he lists complaints from Teresa Clark, who said the Mallorys have harassed her repeatedly. In an emailed statement sent to Colorado Public Radio on Friday, Teresa Clark says she's in fear for her life, her animals, her house, and her friends. She said she lives with her 82-year-old mother in Yoder, who she is afraid for too. Okay. I'm disabled from brain surgery. I have had a stroke, Clark said in the note. I have been victimized for the last 2 years. In the affidavit, Gerhardt said Clark had been in contact with him about being harassed by Mallory since March 2022. In one incident, Clark showed Gerhardt a video she took of her truck with the window busted out and the tire tracks from the scene leading to the Mallory's property. Okay. Other pictures and video Clark gave to police, according to Gerhardt, allegedly showed multiple cameras on the Mallory property that pointed toward her house. The Mallory's home and Clark's home are about a mile apart, separated by an easement. According to the affidavit, the county does not recognize the easement as a road. Gerhardt stated the easement is the main source of egress for Clark and her family. Okay. Clark gathers mail and places her trash on the easement as well, the affidavit states. Clark also showed police pictures and video of the Mallorys stopping their vehicle in the easement near Clark's gate, the complaint states. Okay. Nicole Mallory is seen in other videos near the easement with her hands in the air saying, "Hands up, don't shoot," Gerhardt said in the affidavit. Courtney Mallory is also seen shortly after walking by Clark's property with his hands in the air, the complaint states. Nicole Mallory is seen in the video using a loudspeaker mentioning things that Clark should pack for heaven, the affidavit states. Okay. Other times, the Mallorys are seen driving past her property or up to the easement sometimes as Clark gets ready to leave for work and when she returns, Gerhardt said in the affidavit. Okay. As recent as December, police said Courtney Mallory was seen crossing his fence line and taking Clark's trash can. Then The affidavit states Gerhardt in the affidavit said he finds it highly unusual that the Mallorys put themselves in close proximity to Clark. Okay. This is compounded by the fact that both Mallorys have obtained temporary protection orders against Miss Clark, Gerhardt writes in the affidavit. Having lived in a rural portion of El Paso County for 20 years and investigating criminal activity solely in the rural portions of East El Paso County for 7 years, I find this activity highly unusual and outright disturbing. Gerhardt said all of these incidents were documented by Clark in a 19-page stalking log that she maintains against the Mallorys. He said last August they attempted to set up a meeting and resolve the issue with the Mallorys by contacting Nicole Mallory's attorney, but they were unable to arrange a meeting. Okay. It is unclear at the moment why the sheriff's office didn't assign someone else to investigate the claims, because the Mallorys have also complained about Gerhardt claiming she was complicit in intimidating them and trying to force them off their land. Okay. Gerhardt stated in the affidavit that he was the subject of four of the Mallory's complaints against El Paso County Sheriff deputies in the last 2 years, all of which were dismissed. In total, Gerhardt said the Mallorys filed more than 15 internal affairs complaints against deputies. Okay. El Paso County Sheriff's Office executes search warrant at the Mallory's ranch. In the affidavit, Gerhardt said he obtained a warrant on November 22 to search the Mallory's property, and the next day he visited their ranch and took 3 surveillance cameras and 3 motion sensors that were directed at Clark's home. Okay. Gerhardt said Courtney Mallory met him while he was executing the warrant, and he explained that the cameras were being taken as part of the ongoing stalking investigation. While at the Mallory's home, Gerhardt said he saw unusual wiring coming from one of the nearby transformers on a power pole, the affidavit states. Okay. He had already received photos and video from Clark showing Courtney and Nicole Mallory working with someone else to access the power transformer, the affidavit states. Gerhardt then called the Southeast Power Company Association and told them about the potential power tampering. An inspector arrived soon after and determined the power company did not conduct the unusual wiring and disconnected the power supply from the transformer. The company later placed a lock on the box, according to a complaint filed against the company by Teresa Clark, which has since been dismissed. Okay. NAACP investigating MLK Commission supports the Mallorys. Okay. Vern Howard, chairman of the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Colorado Holiday Commission, a private group that organizes MLK events nationally and also supports victims of social injustice, spoke on behalf of the Mallorys Thursday and said they are emotionally distraught and frustrated with the justice system that intentionally refuses to assist them. Okay. The Rocky Mountain NAACP is currently investigating the Mallorys case and said their first priority is to ensure the Mallorys are safe and that they get an attorney. A Realtors Association is looking into land deeds to determine where the property line is truly located between the Mallory and Clark homes, Howard said. He added the Mallorys believed they were targeted by neighbors and others in the area a few years ago after purchasing the property, which was abandoned prior to their arrival. Howard said the Mallorys being black didn't help. Okay. El Paso County has a strong history of white supremacy and the Klan in Colorado. It's where the movie Black Klansman took place, Howard said. He referenced the movie about Ron Starward, the first black police officer to work at the Colorado Springs Police Department, who in 1978 successfully infiltrated the local chapter of the Ku Klux Klan in Colorado Springs to unravel the organization. The Mallory's dogs were poisoned with antifreeze. Their goats have been butchered and other livestock, Howard said Thursday. The Mallorys started filing police reports constantly to get something done, but the El Paso sheriff refused to respond, take their calls for help seriously. The sheriff's office told them if they continued to make these allegations and calling the police, then they would be arrested. Okay. The sheriff's office denied the allegations of partiality and said it has investigated. Okay, but the only crimes they could find were committed by the Mallorys themselves. Okay. They reported responding to 170 calls for service and 911 calls and 19 complaints from the Mallorys and their neighbors in the last couple of years. Okay. Colorado Public Radio News has a records request pending to review these documents. Okay. Howard said the Mallorys also believe Courtney Mallory was held illegally in jail on Monday, giving the Clarks time to file another restraining order. Teresa Clark filed a restraining order against Courtney Mallory in December, which has since been mandated by the courts. Judge Pearson ordered Courtney Mallory to have no contact with Teresa or Bonnie Clark in court on Tuesday. Okay. Another complaint was filed by Teresa Clark on Tuesday morning against Courtney Mallory, the day of his hearing. That same morning, Clark also filed a complaint against a man she believes was working for the Mallorys and poisoned her livestock, court records show. Okay. The sheriff's office refused to do anything when the Mallorys came to them for help when they feared for their lives, Howard said. He said the Mallorys have suffered a loss of more than $200,000 in damages to their livestock and property. Courtney Mallory's next order date is scheduled for February 14th. Nicole Mallory's next hearing is February 16th. Now, see, here's my problem is that why is it that the Clark women, okay, has, who is the white women who the Mallory said are you know is harassing them and stalking them. Why is it that she has all this video of them on her property? That's what I want to know. Why is it that she has all these videos of them coming out in front of their house, with their saying hands up, don't shoot. And it looks like the Courtney guy says the Nicole Mallory got out first and with her hands up and said hands up, don't shoot. Then supposedly the other guy is Courtney Mallory is seen in the same you know video also saying hands up, don't shoot. Why did they feel the need to drive, to this woman's property and do that? I don't understand that. It just looks weird to me. It looks weird to me. And then they said they have the video showing Courtney Mallory coming onto her property and taking her trash can. What was the need for him to take her trash can? That's what I want to know. First of all, that's theft. Okay. But what was the need to come now? The Mallorys have said that they're stalking them, that the Clarks are stalking them, that the Clarks are harassing them, that the Clarks sunk dogs on them. Okay, why would they sink dogs on them? Would it be maybe it's because you're coming onto their property and taking their stuff? Might that be the reason why? Because it doesn't make sense. Why is it that the Mallorys feel the need to be in proximity with the Clarks like this? It doesn't make sense. If they say the Clarks are harassing them and being racist towards them, why are they going by the Clarks' property? It does not make sense. Those are the questions that I ask. And see, Jason Black portrayed it like it was this. It's awful what they're doing. They're trying to drive these black people off their land. They're trying to get rid of them so they can go buy the land and auction it off to the white Latinos. This stupid stuff. No going into the details of the incident. None of that from Jason Black. Okay, this is why I don't like people like Jason Black. He does not go into the details. But let me go ahead and read the next article about it. Okay, because this article is similar. But one of the things that they show in this article is they at least show a picture of what looks like the Mallory's ranch. Why does their ranch have all this political, stuff on it. All this Black Lives Matter flags and all that. I mean, if you're a rancher, just be a rancher. Why do you have to be so politicized about it? That's what I want to know, and that leads me to believe, you know, certain things. That leads me to believe these people, they might just be troublemakers, and they might just be out for attention. Because why put up all these signs and stuff? It just doesn't make sense to me, okay? But it says, okay, El Paso County arrest papers detail behavior by black farmer and wife toward neighbors, okay? El Paso County, Colorado. Okay, court documents released Thursday contain details behind the decision to arrest a black farmer and his wife from Yoder, Colorado, for felony stalking charges. Okay, the probable cause affidavits were submitted to courts in December for the arrest of Courtney and Nicole Mallory. Courtney also faces charges of utility tampering, okay, and theft. All right. The couple, who own many acres of land in eastern El Paso County, claims they have been targeted for harassment because of their race. Their story gained national attention following an article published online describing how their property was vandalized and their farm animals killed, has led to a flurry of calls to the El Paso County Sheriff's Office to address the accusations of racism in the community. Okay. Courtney Mallory was arrested early this week, further agitating a volatile situation. The Rocky Mountain NAACP is involved in the case, working to seek a resolution. El Paso County Sheriff Joy Roybal has also put out a call to community leaders as he seeks to de-escalate tensions. Okay. The deputy who wrote the 6-page document said the victims, Teresa Clark and her elderly mother, fear for their safety because of the unusual and disturbing behavior by their neighbors, the Mallorys. Okay. Deputy Sergeant Emery Gerhardt wrote that Ms. Clark provided him with more than 4 gigabytes worth of video and digital images documenting activity that he believes, okay, is criminal in nature. He said the Mallorys had taken out restraining orders against Miss Clark, yet frequently went out of their way to drive past their property. The Clarks used an easement to access their property from the intersection of Truckton Road and Lock Road. That easement runs along the southern boundary of the Mallory property. The easement is located slightly more than a mile from a gate on La Hoop Road, which provides access to Mallory property. Okay. One incident shows Nicole stopping her vehicle in front of Teresa's property. She then exits her vehicle, places her hands in the air, and says, "Hands up, don't shoot," Gerhardt wrote. Another video shows Nicole using some type of loudspeaker or public address system where she is speaking of things that Teresa should pack for heaven. Okay. Gerhardt said he executed a search warrant at the Mallory property in late November and seized 3 surveillance cameras and 3 motion sensors that were directed at the Clark's residence. Okay. As he was executing that warrant, Gerhardt wrote that he observed unusual wiring coming from one of the transformers on one of the power poles. He contacted the Southeast Power Company Association, and an employee said the power hooked up to the transformer was not conducted by SEPCO. Okay. Gerhardt said the theft charge stems from an incident in December where Mr. Mallory was seen crossing his fence line onto the easement. Okay. There he takes Miss Clark's trash can and loads it onto his truck before driving away, Gerhardt wrote. The can is valued at $25. Okay. News 5 contacted Teresa Clark by phone Thursday afternoon. She declined our request for an interview, saying she believes we would only provide one side of the story. Okay. Portia Prescott, president of the Rocky Mountain NAACP, explained that Nicole Mallory surrendered to the Elbert County Sheriff's Office after the arrest warrants were issued. She was immediately released on bond. Okay. Courtney Mallory was taken into custody by Colorado State troopers in Colorado Springs in January. His arrest was widely shared on social media. Okay. Prescott said her primary concern for getting involved was to look after the safety of Mr. Mallory after his arrest, since he was held overnight in the El Paso County Jail before appearing at a bond hearing. Okay. Our concern was that El Paso County Detention Center has a history of mistreatment of inmates of color, and we just simply wanted to make sure he got out okay. He was safe. They weren't going to utilize some of the trickery that they do, Prescott said. She also said she fears that a conviction in this case could prevent the Mallorys from enjoying access to their property given the proximity to the victims. It could also strip them of their right to own firearms, as News 5 reported Wednesday. The Mallorys claim they have been targeted for racial harassment since purchasing the property in 2020. Okay. The Rocky Mountain and ACP is conducting a fact-finding investigation into dispute to get a clear understanding of the property boundaries. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. All right, from what I see, it looks like they just didn't get along with their neighbors. This to me just looks like a group of people who moved somewhere and then they did not get along with their neighbors. That's what it looks like to me. That's the only thing that could explain the constant going by their property, jumping on, and it looks like they have some sort of weird agenda going on. Why is this dude going? Why is Courtney Mallory going onto this woman's property, taking her trash can, taking her shit? It makes no sense. Why is he doing that? And they said that his arrest was widely shared on social media. These people's behavior, the Mallorys, their behavior just looks extremely disturbing to me. It looks like these people just wanted trouble. That's what it looks, because we got all this video evidence of the Mallorys going on to the Clarks property, but we don't have any evidence of the Clarks coming onto the Mallorys property. Okay, or they pointing guns at them or anything, any evidence at all of the livestock killings. First of all, they said that they had goats. Okay, so why don't you show me pictures of the dead goats or the dead livestock of the, you know what I mean? I need to see pictures of all that in order for me to, because it does not look at this point, it does not look like to me like what the Mallorys um accusations are. They don't look credible to me. They just don't, because all the evidence that we have so far is of the Mallorys going onto the Clark's property and not the other way around. All right, so that's what I see from what I'm looking at. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off right here. Let me know what y'all think. For right now, peace.